Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Darn Campus Visits, virtual and in-person panel. We're going to get started here in about 1 minute. Let everyone kind of enter into the Zoom room. Welcome. It's great to see you all here tonight. Awesome. People are entering in. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Mackenzie. I am an admissions counselor at Oklahoma State University. I'm going to be the moderator tonight for all of our panelists. We have 3 awesome panelists that are going to help us tonight answer the questions about campus visits in person and virtual.
I'll go ahead and introduce myself as well. My name is Tori Schlatzauer. I am the representative for the University of Missouri, also known as Mizzou. And I've been working for Mizzou ever since I graduated in 2015, so almost 6 years now. Been in Texas and the Dallas Regional for almost 2 years.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda, and I'm with Southern Arkansas University. I have been working as a regional in the DFW area for almost 2 years now.
Howdy, everyone. I'm Derek Nido. I am one of the regional admissions counselors for Texas A&M University. I work here out of our Dallas-Fort Worth Perspective Student Center, which is located in Arlington. And I've been working in higher education for almost 8 years now. It feels like 20 after this year, but yes, over 8 years of higher education.
Awesome. Derek has jokes. That's great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We're super excited to have you all and just hear what you guys have to say about visiting campuses in person and virtual. So we'll go ahead and kick off with some questions that you guys submitted as participants in this panel. You guys submitted questions and we're going to go ahead and ask those. If you have any other questions throughout this presentation, go ahead and put those in the Q&A. We would love to answer those for you. And then if you have a question for a specific school, go ahead and specify your question for that specific school, and we will answer those the best we can. So we will start off with Tori. Tori, are schools allowing visits right now? And then Amanda and Derek, if you have anything to add after Tori, you guys can go ahead and answer that as well. But are schools allowing visits right now?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. So as you know, people are able to start getting the vaccine if they haven't already, I think more schools are opening up in-person visits. And schools that have been open may be extending those numbers. So I would absolutely reach out to any school that you're interested in and see what that looks like, especially with social distancing guidelines. What does that look like as we move forward into the summer?
Yeah, I would agree. I've seen more and more campuses opening up to have visits or even starting to have more people come for each visit. And do remember that if you are worried about, things being safe or anything like that, that a lot of the tour happens outside as you're walking around campus. So just keep those things in mind as well.
Yeah, those are awesome thoughts and such a great point, Amanda, that you're probably walking around campus outside. And most universities, if not all, do have those COVID protocols in place to keep you guys safe as their guests, for sure. Okay, Amanda, we'll let you kick this question off. Is it better to take an in-person tour or a virtual tour?
I say it's best to do whatever you're comfortable with. If you are someone who feels more comfortable in a virtual space because of the world that we're living in right now, then do that. I know that even if maybe the virtual tour online isn't great for some reason, we had to kind of make some of these things on the fly, that a lot of the tours and the admissions offices like ours will even say, okay, do you just want to FaceTime for like 10 minutes and I'll just stand outside and kind of let you get a feel. But if you're looking, to really get a great vibe from the campus, obviously being in person is going to give you that feel, but ultimately do whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, I would say, I would agree with that. And then also say, I think that the virtual tours, because all of us have set these up and have all these, different experiences that you can have, I think that they're really great for that kind of initial college kind of experience. Obviously jumping in a car and driving somewhere or flying somewhere, that takes money and time. And so if you can maybe narrow down somewhat of your search, through some of the virtual tours and virtual experiences, I think that's a great way to do it, a more cost-effective way to do that. But I do really agree with Amanda that, especially your final, 3 to 5 colleges or universities that you've been admitted to and you're thinking about attending, you really do need to visit those schools in person to really get a feel for that campus and know if it's going to be right for you for the next 4 years, 5 years perhaps, or more of your life.
Yeah, I honestly have nothing to add to that because that was all perfect. I agree 100%. Comfortability, and like Derek said, when you narrow those down, if you can go visit those schools in person, or if you do need to visit them again, to help narrow that down, it's much better for you to get the feel, but absolutely.
Awesome. Yes. Okay, there's kind of 2 parts to this next question. Derek, I'll let you kick it off. When is a good time to visit a university? So I'm going to ask you a good time of year, as well as freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. When's a good time to go visit a university?
Sure. So I think the best time really to visit a university, to be honest, is during a fall or spring semester. The summers are great. Obviously, you have more freedom and more opportunity to travel and do so, but you're not, in most cases, getting the campus in the full effect. Most students, especially at a traditional college campus, are at home, at internships, at study abroad, whatever it may be, during the summer. And so, you're not seeing the student body in action. You're not interacting with them. You're not really seeing what it looks like. Most of us have pretty buildings on our campus and plant flowers and have grass and whatnot. So it looks great. But really, like I tell students, it's just you walking around and seeing a bunch of brick and concrete buildings. And I don't really know if that tells you the full story of what that university and what that experience is going to be like. And then I would say, definitely for juniors, this is kind of the prime time right now, or this semester was really the prime time for you to be out there visiting schools. Obviously, that might not have been a possibility for some of the schools you were looking at, or you might not have felt comfortable doing that. So definitely for juniors going into your senior year in that fall, definitely make sure that you are taking those visits, especially to the schools that you're applying to. If I have any other younger students on this call, junior year is really a good time to kind of just see what's out there, visit as many schools as you can, and then really kind of senior year in a lot of cases is kind of that time frame to narrow down out of the schools that you've applied and been admitted to, where are you going to go? Maybe you go back for a second visit or a third visit or for another program on campus.
Yeah, and bouncing off of that, I do agree with Derek, and junior year is probably the best to go. Not to say you can't visit a school sooner, but I would probably recommend a second visit if you do visit any campus, freshman or sophomore year, and maybe make that second visit, regardless of what year you're going, to narrow down that focus. So if you've already done a general tour, if you want to do it again, but can you meet with other departments on campus? Is it honors college? Is it, your major? What is it that you want to do or see besides something that you've already done or seen before?
And I think what Derek talked about, the time of year, is really important because most of us have buildings that look similar. Most of us have similar majors, similar systems. What is different is the culture of the campus. That's kind of what you're looking for when you come on campus. The rest of it you're going to be able to see online in those virtual tours on the website. And then also thinking about maybe even within the semester, like if you're someone who's really into athletics, okay, maybe I want to try and come during the fall around a football game. A lot of universities will do something around a football game or a basketball game, baseball games happening during the week. Or if you're interested in theater, come when there's a show happening. So check out things like that, and your admissions office is going to be able to give you advice on those things, on when would be the best time to come in. So just keep those things in mind.
Wow, Amanda, that's such a great point of really basing your trip off of hobbies and things that you're interested in and activities. That is a really great answer, all of you guys. Okay, Tori, we'll start with you on this next one. What is some advice you would give students and their families starting the college search process?
Ask questions. If you don't know what to ask, say you don't know what to ask, that you're starting this whole college search process. The best resource is us as representatives. If you don't know the representative in your area, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure every university has some sort of page with their reps listed, or call them or email them and say, hey, who's my rep? Or who can I talk to? When you start the college search process, have that buddy for that college, okay? That's what admissions reps are for. That is our job. And like I said, if you don't know what questions to start with, just say, I don't know what to start asking. We will talk for days. We like to talk, so we can start off that process with you. So my first piece of advice is find your admission reps and talk to them. Introduce yourself. Say hi. You're interested in that school.
So that's a great point, Tori. I don't think anything that I could add to talking to us, but just a kind of a separate vein of maybe something to consider in your search. You know, you have the entire United States to consider, but maybe think about what type of area you would want to be in. So do you want maybe an urban university or something more rural? What part of the country do you want to live in? Do you want to experience something different than where you're from? So maybe go way out of state, or do you want to stay close to home? Just think about those things. That's where you're going to be the next 4 years. And so sometimes we get caught up in looking just at the campus, but the campus comes along with the community that it's invested in. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. At least I know in my college search, I kind of saw a couple different like university types in terms of like the setting in which they were in. And then from there kind of figured out what was the best fit for me. And then figuring out what that fit was for me, it was being in a college town environment, looking at other colleges and universities that were in kind of a bustling college town environment and adding those to my list of places to visit and to apply to. And one thing that I just want to say from what Tori said, while I know that a lot of students, and I don't get a whole lot of them, but I know some of my coworkers do, people just reaching out and introducing themselves to us. And that's great and all, at least for maybe for like out of state schools, but at least for us at Texas A&M, while we, do want to talk to you and whatnot, we're kind of working with the masses and whatnot. So what I would really recommend that you do instead, and I would also do this for other universities too, is look online to see what kind of information sessions and whatnot that you can attend, and see, from there, sitting in one of those when it's usually an admissions representative, talking, from there, I think it'll spur some really good questions for you so that if you do want to reach out to your admissions representative, instead of just saying, hi, I'm so-and-so from this and this high school, and I'm really interested in A&M. Okay, cool. But if you have some like questions to like ask, I think that would be a better use of that email. So.
I just wanted to add to that because that was a really great point that most of us on our website have like a box for you to put in your information to get stuff from us in your email, get text from us, and get stuff in your mailbox that can sometimes be just as helpful, if not more so, if you're like me, than the website. And so that's easily accessible. And I know when you're reaching out to us, sometimes that's what you want. It's like, I just want to be in the loop. And that's sometimes on our website.
That's a really great point. Awesome. Okay, Amanda, this one, we'll start out with you. Can I visit a school more than once?
Of course. Many times as you want. If you're going to come more than once, usually you have things that you're looking for. So if you're like me, I started out just as a general session for juniors and just kind of attended that overall kind of give me the vibe of campus. And then I was like, okay, now I want to come for my own personal tour. I have some individual questions about where I want to live on campus, what departments I want to talk to. So kind of have that progression. You don't want to just repeat. And then there's nothing wrong with just doing the tour as many times as you want. It's like, I didn't get to see this last time, so I want to do it again. I think we had a student come back because he was an avid skateboarder. And he's like, I want to be able to skateboard from my dorm to where my first class is in the morning in a certain time. And so he came back and he was like, this is all I'm here to do. So you can visit as many times as you want. We're never going to turn you away.
And I would just add that if you're looking for additional things to do with schools, monitoring your email is going to be essential, because sometimes we're not always just posting these opportunities on websites. Sometimes we send them out to you as an invitation or an announcement of, hey, this is like a one-time program that we've got going on. We'd really like you to join. Email is going to be so important over these next years. And I can't tell you how many students in the last X number of years that I've been doing this job, that there's always several students every year that just are not good at keeping up with their emails and they miss things. And they come to us later and they're like, well, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with that. Or I missed this deadline or that deadline. You got to check your emails. And my recommendation would be set up a new email account that you use for colleges that you and your parents have access to. So you can both be logging in and checking that. Use it for scholarships as well. So it's all just in one place and it's separate from all of your advertisements that you're getting from Target and Amazon and whatever else wherever else you shop or get a bunch of emails from.
Bouncing off of that, check your spam folder, your junk mail. Sometimes things get sent there. We don't do that on purpose. So definitely do that. And kind of just to reiterate, go back for a second tour. No one's going to say no to that. I think it's a great way to help narrow down your choices. Like Amanda and we've all said is, make that next experience unique to you. Ask that school how to do that.
Yeah, you guys, those are all great things. I'm not a panelist, but I would add that was such a great point, Derek, that there's just so many different programs on campus that all of our universities and probably all the universities that you're looking for have to offer too. So yes, definitely continue to check your email and check that out. Okay, Derek, this next one's for you, but I want all of our panelists to answer this because this is such a great question. What questions should I ask on my tour and what should I make sure that I see while I'm there?
Sure. Gosh, I would say, usually your tour guide's going to be a current student. If they're not, then that's a kind of a unique situation then of something that you're doing, but usually it's a current student. So I would really I'd be asking questions about like, hey, what is there to do on campus? What's there to do off campus? What are students interested in, or what are some, or what are, as a student, what are you interested in? And does that exist on this campus? Like, have you heard of anybody involved in this or that, or whatnot? What should I make sure I see while I'm there? I think at least on your first kind of visit to the campus, you obviously want to do like your general walking tour of kind of like the main part of campus or whatever it is, kind of the quintessential tour of whatever the university is offering. And then usually in most cases, it could be a part of this tour, it could be a separate, a lot of students are usually interested in seeing like living situations. So getting a dorm tour or something like that would be important. And, that'll fill quite a lot of time, I think, between both of those two pieces. But that's kind of at least a good place to start in terms of, when you're initially visiting a campus.
Yeah, to bounce off of some questions I would ask, not just tour guides, but I was one of those where my mom asked the tour guides a lot of questions. She also pulled random students aside and said, hey, what's it like here? How was your first year? Are you in state? Are you out of state? So parents, be nice. Don't be like my mom, but it's okay to be direct. So if you have students that are near you or you're eating lunch by, don't hesitate to ask. I think they give really good, honest feedback of the campus. There's a reason why they chose that school. So if it's, if you're going out of state, ask if that student is from there or not and why they picked that campus. What is it like being a first year student there? What were some things that maybe they wish they would have known about when they were first starting off there? Just some of those, resources that students know that are there but don't use right away. kind of digging in a little bit more. As far as places to see, I think Derek kind of mentioned this, nailed it, was, where are you going to live? I think that's the biggest worry when you move somewhere else, is where are you going to live? I would also recommend places like maybe where your major is at. So where will you spend a majority of your time? The library, could be the rec center. Those might be some things that you might be interested in.
Yeah. So if you're like me, the first thing that I wanted to see was the food. Where am I going to eat? Where am I going to get my drink in the morning? But no, seriously, I would definitely, ask those student tour guides, where do the students hang out during the day? Where do people typically study? Where those kind of questions. But don't be afraid to ask those super realistic questions about what it's like living there. How long does it take to get across campus? How difficult is it to park? Those can be some major hurdles, in college if you don't come into those with your eyes open. But I think Tori and Derek really kind of covered most of the good stuff.
Awesome. Those are all great answers, panelists. Okay, Tori, we will let you kick off this question. Is there anything we didn't talk about today that you feel like we should know regarding tours, visits, virtual, in person, anything?
I think we started with everything so far. I'm curious if we did miss something that any viewers are here right now are more interested in. I just want to kind of reiterate, it's a hard process to start. This is a huge investment going to college. And so ask us while you're here. Stay organized is what I would recommend. You are taking virtual tours, and you have a lot of schools you're looking at, keep track of that. Don't think that you're going to memorize it, because sometimes you get distracted. You're doing a lot in those last years in high school. So not anything off the top of my head. Amanda, Derek, you want to add?
Yeah, so what Tori mentioned about being organized, don't be afraid to be that person on the tour taking notes. I was that person. It's okay to pull out your phone and write things down, take a quick note, but also keeping up with where you've been, what you liked, what you didn't like, because you may forget when you get that cool piece in the mail, like, oh, but I didn't like that thing. And none of us want you to be unsatisfied with where you go. We want you to love where you go, whether it's with us or with someone else. But kind of also keep in mind of what kind of tour you're going on. If it's a group tour, if it's an event, or if it's a personalized tour, all of those are going to have different situations. The personalized tour, you're on obviously going to get to do more of the things we've talked about, where you're going to see what you want to see, your residence hall, your department. The group tour, maybe more highlights, and the group event, maybe more sessions, places to ask questions to students, things like that. So that's the option where you can go as many times as you want, but get a good, diverse type of visit.
Yeah, I think one thing that I would mention on here, and I see this quite a lot, I feel like with parents that I've worked with and families that I've worked with in the past, is that y'all get really excited to be on our campuses, and that's great. And I love that you get so excited and you're just looking at everything, because everything is new to you, or it's changed. If you're like a legacy, if you're a parent that went to that college or university and you're, oh my gosh, this is, oh my God, look at that, look at that, look at this, look at this. But you're also like sitting through an information session, and some of those words and messages kind of start to get jumbled and misconstrued. So my biggest recommendation would be, go to the campus, take the tour, do those tour things, the visual things, the touching, the feeling, the campus, all of that kind of stuff. And then come to us for those information sessions. We exist here in DFW. We live in this area because our university's placed us here to work with you and to provide that information to you, so that you can come to us, whether it's virtual, whether it's an in-person session, whatever it may be, and you're not in our environment, so you're not being distracted by what's going on around you on campus, that you're actually hearing the message from the people who are paid to actually be out here and work with you. So that is my biggest pet peeve kind of slash takeaway is I always just think that people just get way too preoccupied when they're on campus, that an information session on campus, it just doesn't do them any kind of justice because their mind is everywhere. And my mind would be everywhere too. I'm never like, I'm always looking around at everything and all the little cracks and crevices in the rooms and everything. But yeah, I mean, take the information session, do it with us back here in DFW. I wouldn't, I would try to stay clear of it on campus if I can. And then last thing I would just say is, this year's been tough on all of us for sure. And as colleges and universities, we are, especially on on-campus tours, we are trying to put those together in a safe environment where people feel comfortable. And so while we're trying to cater as much as we can to you, please keep in mind as well that you might have to be a little bit more flexible on your piece as well. I had students coming to me a couple of weeks ago saying, oh, there's no tours available. There's no tours available. Yeah, there is. They're at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what we've got available. And we've got almost every day available over the next couple of weeks. And I'm sorry if you don't want to wake up and be on campus at 9 o'clock in the morning, but honey, you're going to be taking an 8 a.m. class, whether you like it or not, probably freshman year. So you better get used to being on a college campus in the morning. But you've got to be a little bit flexible, especially right now with everything going on. We're spreading the tours out, we're having smaller groups. So, bear with us. We're trying to cater to you as much as we can, but we also are trying to keep everybody safe as well throughout this process. So sometimes you might have to bend and flex just a little bit, but if it's important for you to see that college campus, I think that you can make those flexibility, those changes just on a one-off, at a one-time kind of situation to be able to see what you want to see and get the experience that you need to get.
Yeah, so we have time for one more question. It's going to be kind of a two-parter, and we'll start with you, Amanda. We had someone ask, where is the most social place to be at on your campus? And then I also just wanted to know what tours look like on each of your campuses right now, whether virtual, in person, or both, just kind of letting us know all of those things. Oh, you're muted, Amanda.
Sorry about that. So for SIU, probably the most social space on campus for us is our Plaza Mall area. It's right off of the student center that has cafeteria, food, and the MAC, our on-campus gym. So those are where you'll find most of the students in between classes or after class, kind of swirling around each other. So on-campus tours for us have not changed very much since COVID, because even before we were doing personalized tours. So with our tours, you sign up for one time slot. It is just you and whoever you bring with a tour guide who's a current student. You're going to hop on the golf cart and go around campus, see the buildings that you want to see if you want to see the football field, we'll take you out there. The classrooms, residence halls that you're looking into, and they'll also take you by different professors if they're available, or departments that you may have questions about. If you have questions about housing or financial aid, we'll bring you by there as well.
Yeah, I guess we are doing both virtual and in-person tours. The in-person tours, we are currently limiting them, I think, to a size of like 10 students or something like that. But I know here we've talked that over the next couple months, we're going to continue to expand those tours a bit by bit. So you'll be able to see a little bit more availability going through the summer and then definitely into the fall. And I know we are doing tours. You can book your walking tour, you can book your dorm tour, and then if your college, university program, major, whatever it is, if they have an information session or meeting with an advisor or something like that, those are also listed on our website as well.
Is there a social place, Derek, that you want to?
Derek, what's the most social place at?
Yeah, I would say for us, I'm not going to lie, we have a massive campus, right? And a lot of different buildings all spread across everywhere. But kind of the main place would be like the Memorial Student Center. Not every student's probably going to pass by there every single day. but it at least kind of gives you an idea of like kind of a general kind of meeting place where you're going to see a lot of students kind of there and interacting, you know, eating lunch, going to Starbucks, that kind of stuff.
So for Mizzou, we are doing in-person and virtual tours, and we're expanding numbers on in-person. So you can check out our website for more information, or you can contact me. Our most social place, we have kind of a few of them. We're in the heart of the city of Columbia, so we're right next to downtown. Our student center, our Memorial Union, and then this virtual background is a quad. Those are the most social. Like if it's good weather, everyone's out kind of like now, like on a picnic blanket, enjoying the weather, walking around. But I mean, all of our dining halls are across campus, so there's not one particular spot.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, panelists, and just letting us know about the campus tour, virtual and in person. And thank you all so much for attending our panel tonight. A recording of this will be on Darn's website next week. So if you want to refer back to it, we will be posting it there. So I hope everyone has a great Thursday night, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye.